Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video, we're going to look at the NFL after week 6 and in particular the Sportsdeck Dream Team competition. For my team this week, 417, which is well below average, well down on the weekly rank, so 1200 for the week. Interestingly, I only saw an 85 drop in season rank, so sitting 280th overall, which in the context of the week is not too disastrous at all. So if we have a look at how the team went, so Josh Allen was the captaincy call this week. Didn't quite work out for us. Jalen Hurts obviously doing a bit better with the 45. I guess the big news since the last video is Anthony Richardson looks like he's out for the year. So we might have to get in for a backup quarterback. So we'll probably be using at least one trade on that. McCaffrey, another one who went down injured, so we'll have to wait and see. So 24 was a bit disappointing, but obviously didn't play the full game. Pacheco with the 25 did okay. Kyron Williams, 43 is awesome, but another one under a bit of an injury cloud. Bijan, 20, so he's starting to peak in price. Saquon returned and 23, obviously, man, he lost some money, but that's okay. And Ford with a 19, so he's made us a little bit more money there. With the wide receivers, Stephon Diggs with a 30 is a solid return. Tyreek with a 50, he's continuing to crush it this year. Jamar Chase with the 22 was okay, but not fantastic. Nakua, so, I think it's about time to cash out on him. Gabe Davis with the 3, just couldn't get involved. So he's another one that might have peaked in price. We might see if we can upgrade them. Addison with the 20 was solid. Olave 26, so he's a bit up and down. And Ridley with a 10. I think they're going to be sort of hit and miss type picks throughout the season. Travis Kelsey doing Travis Kelsey things with a 33. Laporta didn't get a touchdown, so 11. And Musgrave didn't play because of the bye. The kickers, Aubrey, outscored Moody this week. Moody missing a couple of big kicks, but I guess he'll come in this week for sure, given Dallas is on the bye. And the Cowboys, surprisingly, once again, outscored in defense by Chicago. So, obviously, those players are going to come in for this week. So, I guess, depending on the forecast on McCaffrey, we might have to trade out of him, which I guess isn't ideal. The likes of Nakua and Davis might be time for them to go. Excuse me. So if we have a look at some options, so Mostert in the absence of HN killed it with a 65 this week. I think he would have been the highest scorer. Travis Etienne's continuing to go well. Brees Hall, so he's looking very good. Now they're ramping him up a bit, so at 2.5% might be a nice point of difference. But is on the buy this week, so probably look elsewhere. Chuba Hubbard would have been a nice cheap option, depending on Sanders' forecast, but he's out he's out next week with the buy. Scrolling down, DeAndre Swift's been good. Austin Eckler, that's a bit disappointing. So, yeah. I mean, I guess if we're looking for top tier options, then it is McCaffrey that you're going to trade out. You can have your pick. I'd probably look towards ETN in this top tier sort of category. Um, I guess for well, somewhat rock solid points, you can always look at Eckler. He's already had his bye, which is nice. And he's always going to be one of the main playmakers there. Um, you could go with Jordan Mason as the understudy, like for like. The other interesting one would be Jonathan Taylor. So, you know, he hasn't dropped in price yet. He's only played his second game. But you'd imagine with an average of 12 that there is a bit of room for a dip. So we could wait a week or two and then get on him then. The other cheap option that comes to mind, if I scroll through, is Craig Reynolds. So David Montgomery was injured, so you can see that he only got a six. Jameer Gibbs may be still injured, so there could be a lot of work for a Craig Reynolds type in this offense. So here's the other one that I'm considering. I'll just put him back. So if we were to get out of Nakua, our options. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, scored really well. Cooper Cup, he's looking really good, as you can see, averaging a tick under 40. Adam Thielen keeps crushing it. Don't know how, but well done to him. Shahid's been an interesting one at a cheap price. Might be worth a punt if you can't afford to go up. Um, CD Lamb's on bye this week. Zay Flowers is looking pretty good. So, it might be the absolute last opportunity to get on him. The other option I thought would score more than this is Josh Downs. Looks like he's really going to benefit from Richardson being out and Minshew playing. He likes that slot receiver role. So he's another potential cheapie that we could access to get ourselves up. Nothing else really jumps out down the list. I guess if you look for a bottom dollar cheapie, you could now look at JSN, Smith and Jigba. It's still at 3 mil against the Cardinals this week is a nice matchup. And, he's always a chance of building up that work rate throughout the year. Um, so that's the wide receivers. I guess the other thing to look at too, quarterbacks. So obviously we're only looking at the cheap options, um, and none of them seem to appear at the top here, surprisingly enough. So yeah, so the likes of Stroud have already made their money. Bryce Young's still in the price range. We could go straight to Minshew, but I don't think he's got a lot more upside in him. Um, so yeah, an interesting one could be Badgent, perhaps. Obviously, Chicago's offense is terrible, but he's at 3 million. Brian Hoyer, if he gets the start for Jimmy G being out injured, um, his one against Chicago could be a quick little money maker. Um, yeah, after that, we are sort of relying on someone coming out of the woodwork at some point, or just, I guess, nothing out. Interesting, I thought Aidan O'Connell would be the one in line, but looked like Hoyer is the official number two for Vegas. So yeah, so I guess your super cheap options is Badgett, Hoyer, or Willis. Um, Out of those, probably Hoyer would make the most sense. But what else? You know, Leaning towards Minshew, maybe Bryce Young after the bye. Uh, yeah, cool. So I guess just a quick look at tight end as well. So Dalton Schultz has been going pretty well, to be fair. Pitts and Johnny Smith both having good games this week. You can see Johnny Smith's gone up 3 mil, doubled his money. Maya, as a cheap option, is pretty handy. But yeah, I think pretty happy with the setup we've got. So I'm not going to trade Musgrave out this week. So what's the play? So as much as it is to get rid of Robinson potentially, I think we can wait a bit longer because if we have a look at the draws, so for Hertz, his bye is week 10 and Allen is week 13. So we've still got a few weeks before we need to put someone in that slot. Um, so, there might be a bit more opportunity to see if, an option jumps up and sort of says, pick me. Again, if we go back to those cheap quarterbacks for a second, if we can find them. So, they've all played one game, I guess including PJ Walker in this conversation too. So, none of them are going to get up in price this week. So, it does give us that second look and get some updates around, the injuries and that sort of situation. Um, and also, I think with McCaffrey, he might be out a couple of weeks, but I think we can potentially hold. Um, so I guess what I'm leaning towards is probably Ford out. Kareem Hunt looks like he's got a bit more sort of sway in the offense. Bring in Craig Reynolds as that cheap option that's going to get, some good time in the coming games. And then we can get Nakua out and trade him up to Cooper Cup. So just like for like in the sense of the Rams number one, former number one, I guess, to the current. So we've now got Diggs, Hill, Chase, Cup, which is pretty nice. And then, these other four we can just swing around. Yeah, so we'll complete those two trades. So then we'll chase us out this week, so we will have to play three of the sort of mid-range options, but that's okay. What are the matchups like? So New Orleans and Jacksonville. You'd think maybe Jacksonville's going to get the better of that one, so Olave might need to chase a bit more. Buffalo and New England. New England hasn't been fantastic, so that's fine. The Vikings against San Fran on Monday night, so maybe we swap those two over. Although he is the number one man, so are these guys, I suppose. Um, yeah, tight end's fine. Running back, so if McCaffrey's out, we'll just bring Barkley back in. If McCaffrey does play, it'll be interesting. I'd lean towards maybe Robinson out, just follow the money there a bit. I mean, yeah, Williams against Pittsburgh, yeah, that's a good matchup for him. Kansas City at Chargers. I guess that wasn't necessarily the game we brought him in for, but it'll be fine. The Giants play Washington, so there's not not the strongest defense there for Saquon. So it looks something like that. I guess if McCaffrey's out, I might even be inclined to bring Reynolds in over Bijan. So Atlanta has someone. Tampa Bay, they've been going pretty well. So yeah, they might have to pass it a bit more. He does do well in the passing game, but I think there's a bit more upside with Reynolds. So might line it up like this for the time being. that's all sorted. And the captaincy, so Philadelphia against Miami, you'd imagine going to be a fairly high scoring game. Or Buffalo at New England, so I feel like if I was to make the flip, this will be the week that Allen goes big and Hurts might miss out. So, yeah, very much inclined to leave it the same way. I guess we might actually do the flip because with that game at 3 in the morning and then Philly playing at 10:20. Actually, when does Indianapolis play? They play at 3 too, so the loophole wouldn't quite work out for us. Unlucky. Hmm. Yeah. Any other sort of captaincy options? Maybe Tyreek Hill if you're feeling a bit fancy. You'd imagine against Philadelphia, he'll have to be a big part of their offense. Cooper Cup against Pittsburgh is actually probably not the worst. But, I mean, just look at their averages. These are the guys. We're not really mucking around too much with that. So, happy to keep that as is, I think, for the time being. And because we can't use the loophole, I will go back to Josh Allen. Keep the faith. Fantastic. So that's the team, how it went, how it's going to look this week. In terms of the other matchups in the Supercoach Enough League, so beat the Bin Chickens, pretty sure they're not too interested at the moment. Yeah, especially given they're playing Gibbs and Watson, Jefferson's in their team. That's all right. So easy win there, boys. Wacko Jacko with 447. Looks like the highest scoring player this week for the Nuff. So captaining Tyreek, well done. There was a player short too. What happened there? Still had Jefferson in the side. Maybe that's a bit of a absent pick that's worked out all right. So what's going on here? Can't work out. Oh, yeah, so Jordan Love and Richardson. So yeah, I think maybe might have missed this week and still outscored all of us. That's a bit depressing. But good captaincy pick. Just looking through. Kyron Williams out, had him. Trying to work out who he had that I really didn't. Keenan Allen and Monroe St. Brown. So a couple of good wide receiver options there. $5 foot long. Let's go. So yeah, win with me with Josh Allen. So sorry for that. Austin Heckler's got son of Brady. Well done. So son of Brady had Montgomery, which is unfortunate, and McCaffrey, which is unfortunate. Captain McCaffrey, so I guess that balances that out. Justin Herbert, I think, saved the day there with the 39. Very nice. I know he had Justin Herbert too. Maybe Pat Mahomes was the difference maker there, 36. And Timmy's caddy beating dropping dimes. So dropping dimes, same score. Pretty sure it was this or on the same team as me. Well done. Gonna get the same finish. Might have to do a sneaky last minute trade, but I wouldn't do it. So what's the point of difference here? Tua, yep, nice. Sam Howell, yeah, I've got him in my redraft league as my third sort of quarterback option. Yeah, pretty happy with that. He's going to play this week against the Bears. 13 mil, that's not the worst shout either. If we can afford to go up from Richardson to someone like a Sam Howell, I'd cop that. Cool. All right, so that's how the league. Oh, I guess look at the league table. Probably good. Mostly just to hail my awesomeness at the top. Dropping dimes, I guess. It does pay to track along there with 4 wins, 2 losses. As I said, I think the bin chickens have slid off the back there, but that's okay. So yeah, third and fourth place is still there for most, I think, if not all. Fantastic. All right, well we'll leave the video there as it is. So yeah, as always, if you've got any comments, please feel free to get them down in the section below this video. If you enjoy the content, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And other than that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.